I, female 36, divorced my ex-husband 6 years ago. We have a teen son together, Jamie. I married my current husband and have a tween stepson named Nick. Jamie and Nick are close and get along most of the time as well. Nick depends on Jamie in many things like helping him do homework, fix and organise his toys, cleaning his room, etc. Things have been going great till Jamie started seeing this girl who kept claiming that my husband and I are parentifying him by having him do things for Nick and seemed to be filling his head with nonsense about us taking from Jamie his time and not letting him live like other kids his age. My husband had a stern talk to her which caused Jamie to fight with him. Things have been bad since then. I recently found out that I'm pregnant. We wanted to wait till all my family was together to make the announcement. We did it this past Sunday and everyone was happy and excited for us except for Jamie, who remained quiet for a few minutes, then loudly asked, "So am I expected to take care of this one as well?" My husband and I were shocked. We didn't know what to do. My husband stormed out and I started arguing with Jamie, asking him why he said that. He said that because it was the truth. He feels as if he has some type of responsibility towards Nick because of what he has to do for him and feels that he'll do the same for his half-sibling. I told him this is his girlfriend spouting nonsense and brainwashing him because we expect nothing of him, and he was wrong to say that we do. So I had to punish him for ruining the announcement, making a scene, and upsetting my husband. He thought that it wasn't fair he had to get punished for stating an opinion. He blamed my husband for filling my head too, but he's innocent in this, except he knew that that girl was rude and intrusive. It's been a few days and Jamie has gone entirely silent about the whole thing. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot, the girlfriend was right. Raising Nick is not Jamie's responsibility, and neither is he a free nanny for you to keep avoiding your duties as parents. How stupid it was not to tell Jamie and Nick about the pregnancy in private. Their daily lives will be greatly affected, and you don't respect either of their feelings enough to tell them in private. You spring it on them in front of everyone, and then you're shocked this doesn't go smoothly? Awful. And she punishes him for causing a scene and the all-important upsetting the husband. Was there any concern that the son was clearly upset with this news? Any in-depth communication? Any heart-to-hearts? Nah. She just had to punish him because the son should just shut up and take it. But that's okay because by the time the oldest son escapes as soon as he can, the 10-year-old should be just about old enough to take care of the infant. Win-win. What do parents think when you punish a kid for a feeling or expressing a feeling? Like, it's a feeling, it's not stealing your car. You can't ground a kid into a better feeling. So dumb. She didn't consider her son. Full stop. That is so heartbreaking. I'm glad his girlfriend has been able to help him define part of what is going on. She's a keeper. You are the idiot, OP. Why haven't you taught your tween how to put away his toys or clean his room on his own? It sounds like there's more to what you're disclosing, and that Jamie only realizes that you've pawned off as many of your parental duties to Nick onto him. Your son is right. Helping his brother clean and doing his homework shouldn't be his duty. It's yours and your husband's, and he's right to be upset seeing himself become a free babysitter for your new one. They're too busy making new babies, LOL. OP, your husband acted like a juvenile. Stormed out? Please. Your son has a legitimate concern, and you and your husband didn't like being called out on it. Don't be surprised the day Jamie turns 18 and moves out, but you'll blame the rude and intrusive girlfriend for that too. Me, female 30, and my boyfriend 31 have been dating for 6 months. We met through a mutual friend and things went from there. We don't live together, however we spend enough time together but more outside. A week ago, while we were out with friends, my boyfriend asked if I could make a copy of the key to my apartment. Context: I own an apartment while he rents with friends, and I got upset. I was puzzled, so I asked why. He said he might need to stop by alone or with friends when I'm at work or somewhere else. To be honest, I just didn't feel like it was a good idea, so I asked what business he has in my apartment when I'm out, and he took offense to that. After a few seconds of awkward silence, I told him that I don't feel comfortable having anyone at my apartment unless I'm there, and that he gets to have a copy of the key only if he lives there, and that's it. He got quiet the rest of the evening, but after we left he sent a long wall of text basically criticizing what I said to him and talking about how I don't trust him. I said that I just didn't think he should have a copy unless he's living with me, and he took it as in I was pushing him to move in, but as far as I know, he lives with many guys paying rent, so not the best living arrangement, and he constantly complains about that. We argued and he insisted that I had no trust in him and that I embarrassed him in front of his friends by declining to let him have a copy of the key. He then hung up and kept sulking. I tried calling him again, but one of his friends picked up and got involved, saying my boyfriend is rightfully upset with me for not treating him as my partner and showing him the respect he deserves. He said me refusing to give a copy of the key means 1. I don't trust him or his friends, and 2. I think he's a thief or can't be trusted with my belongings. I got overwhelmed and started thinking that I flew off the handle and was unfair to him by refusing flat out and then not explaining my point. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Why would he need to stop by, alone or with friends, if you weren't there? That's very sketchy. The fact that he keeps pushing is extra sketchy. It sounds like he wants to use your place as his backup hangout spot since he has a bunch of roommates. He's 100% got plans for her place and is too invested in them. It definitely sounds like there's peer pressure behind it somewhere. Maybe one of his friends wants to use it for hookups. Probably also they want to use it to party. I would bet if he had a key it would get trashed all the time. He's gaslighting you, OP, and he's getting his friends to gaslight you too. That's way messed up. When I was 19, I foolishly gave my boyfriend the key. He moved in while I was at work. My apartment became essentially the new party pad, and it took another 6 months before I got the courage to kick him out. He gave me back his only key, yet somehow my stuff kept being moved out or taken while I was out. It was a nightmare until I finally just moved out myself. So not give him a key. If he can't respect your boundaries, you might rethink the entire relationship. OMG, it seems like that was a really good decision to say no, seeing how he reacted. That's your place. The fact that he said he might drop by with friends when you're at work. What? Why would he do that? He doesn't live there. Why do he and his friends need to hang out there? I say drop him. Also, at 30, why are his friends picking up his phone for him to tell you you're awful? Is he a teen? He needs to grow up, and you need a new boyfriend, darling. My 52 female daughter, 28, is expecting her first child with her husband in June. I'm very excited to be a grandmother. My daughter is very excited and can't wait to be a mother. She already has a nursery all picked out, started buying clothes, getting toiletries such as nappies and wipes organised, the works. We have a very close relationship, and she texts me about her first kicks, baby's heartbeat, she has this thing called a Doppler, potential names, etc. I'm thrilled she's so excited and happy because, in all honesty, it was the very opposite of how I felt. The truth is, I hated being pregnant with both my children. Pregnancy honestly scared me. I was anxious all the time, every movement and lack of it made me scared. I hated the feeling of being so heavy and limited in movement, on top of all the normal pregnancy symptoms of fatigue, nausea, swollen ankles, hemorrhoids, sore back, feet, etc. And then don't get me started on the childbirth, which was the next level. Don't get me wrong, I was very excited to become a mum, and I love both my children. They are my absolute world. I just didn't like the process of getting there. She bought one of those baby memory books and has already started by putting some photos of her bump and ultrasound photos in them. For fun, she dug out the baby books I had for both her and younger brother, and we looked through them for a trip down memory lane. For both books, I started at the newborn stage. The pages for 20-week bump and first ultrasound, etc. are blank for both. My daughter asked why this was the case. She always thought maybe it was the lack of technology of the time. For you young'uns out there, yes, we did have cameras and ultrasounds in the 90s. When I told her the truth that I hated being pregnant, it made me scared and anxious, and I didn't want any memories of it. Pregnancy and childbirth terrified me, even for her younger brother when I had a bit more of an idea. I also explained why I was so happy to see her so happy, because I didn't want her to feel like I did. She got very quiet and didn't seem very engaged the rest of the time looking at the books. When she left to go home, she seemed a bit distant. Later that night, my son-in-law called me to say my daughter was very upset about what I said. Apparently, I made her feel unwanted, like she was a burden to bear. I was shocked and upset to hear that myself because that was the opposite of how I felt, and told my sister-in-law that. I explained I loved my daughter and her brother very much, and I wouldn't trade them for the world. I just didn't like being pregnant, but that doesn't mean my child wasn't wanted. My sister-in-law understood, but still said my daughter was upset. Am I the idiot for confessing my feelings? I felt very guilty, and the last thing I wanted to do was stress my pregnant daughter out, a time when stress and feeling upset need to be kept to a minimum. Not the idiot. I think the disservice that women have done to each other is not being honest about pregnancy. We've created an environment where women feel as if they're horrible human beings if they don't enjoy their pregnancies. Pregnancy can be extremely difficult and uncomfortable. Some people are fortunate to feel that their pregnancies were all butterflies and rainbows, but that's not everyone's experience. Being honest about not enjoying your pregnancies doesn't mean that you don't love your child, or that you wouldn't have done it all over again just to get the result of having them. Your daughter asked you a question, and you were honest with her. You are the idiot. You dumped a whole lot of knowledge on your daughter at a really inappropriate time. This was not the time for it. Your daughter is also probably somewhat scared and somewhat emotional. She's excited as well, and this is a really happy time for her. You basically crapped all over that. If you truly felt the need to share this with her, which I don't see why you did, maybe share it after she gets through her first pregnancy experience, okay? I'll ask you this. What benefit did you see for your daughter in learning about how much you hated and feared pregnancy and childbirth? How did you hope she would feel after you shared this with her? I'm assuming you thought this would be beneficial for her somehow, but I can't see exactly how. I'm a 24-year-old female and I lived with my friend Amy before I found a better apartment that I could pay for myself. I went to a brunch with Amy a few weeks ago and we talked about work and finding jobs for our degrees. We have the same degree and went to the same school together, which is how we met, and that's why we lived together for some time. Well, Amy talked about this interview for a position at a company that had a few spots open that fit our degree and what we wanted to do. She suggested that it would be great if we both applied and it would be awesome to work together, and I agreed. Well, later that day I looked up what she was talking about and applied for the job and got an interview the next week. I texted Amy and she just sent me a thumbs up emoji and that was it. So I got to the interview and I nailed it. They loved my entire resume and everything I'd done since graduating. After that, I went to the company coffee shop where I met a guy who works in a similar field to mine, and I'm hoping we become something serious. 2 days later, I had dinner with Amy telling her that I got the job and how I smashed the interview and about the new guy. Well, Amy then angrily tells me how I need to shut up and swiped her dream job away from her. She told me she'd already told everybody about the job, and then the company called her back saying she wasn't what they were looking for anymore. She basically had the job until I came and ruined everything, and she was supposed to meet the guy of her dreams, and instead I took that from her. I told her that it was her idea that I applied, and she said she was only joking. She then left the dinner and texted me after that I was an idiot and I needed to give up my job position to make this better. Am I the idiot? Edit. I wasn't aware she didn't get the job until after she yelled at me. She also didn't say it in a joking manner. We were seriously talking about us working together. There were also 4 positions open. Not the idiot. This reads like high school drama. It sounds like Amy was never offered an interview. She didn't match the criteria and was likely passed over for you. That means she never had a chance at this job in the first place. If there's anything I've learned, a mature and good friend will encourage you no matter what, and you in turn encourage them. That way, if anything goes wrong, you're there to help one another find a better option. Your friend seems to think that she was offered a job and then you interviewed, and her spot was offered to you instead. That's not how recruitment really works. If they filled the role, they don't keep looking. That takes time and resources that can be better spent on other things. Congrats on the new job. Live your life, be successful, and forget about her. Agree. She's upset she didn't get the job and jealous of OP. That guy may not become OP's boyfriend, so that's a silly thing to freak out over. OP, enjoy your job. Give Amy the space to get her balance back and maybe apologize to you for her jealous, over-the-top response. Ignore her inappropriate request to sabotage your success to make her feel better. My son is a 6th grader and I guess he's popular. Next week Friday, his school is having a pep rally. They'll have activities like calling up students to play games against the teachers and handing out awards. One of the activities will call up the socially popular kids for an impromptu dance-off. But the twist is that they'll bring out their parents instead and embarrass their kids. I know this because they asked me to do it and I declined. I couldn't think of anything more cringe or humiliating to my son or me than doing a parent dance in front of hundreds of middle school kids while my son is front and center. Although I declined, my son's mom, my ex, agreed. She thinks it will be the funniest thing ever. Yes, our kid will be embarrassed, but we'll think it's cool and funny and remember it fondly. We are not on the same page on this. Her whole thing is that it's not even my business, and how it's not any different than when I hug him goodbye in front of his friends. Because he lets me. We do have split custody and I have him next week, so I thought about pulling him out early to do something fun and avoid the pep rally. I tell my ex after, but before the event, so she has time to make up an excuse to save face. I'm not asking my son's input because I don't want him to feel like he's picking sides. Oh, and the song they were going to use was even worse, but they changed it after I complained. So, am I the idiot? You are the idiot. So your concern is about embarrassing your son, and you are not asking him for his opinion. Your idea is to take the kid away without telling his mom, who would be waiting for her child, excited for the whole thing. In what world do you think it's an okay thing to do to either your ex or your son? I'm curious whether it's always my way or no way with you. Here's an idea. Have a talk with your kid and ex with everyone present. Maybe he'll think it's funny, maybe he won't. But you making a unilateral decision about this will cause unnecessary problems with both your child and your ex. It definitely feels petty, rather than coming from a place of concern. It also feels like OP is projecting how he would be embarrassed if his parents did this and imposing that on his son. Oh, the horror! It's one dance. Also, middle schoolers get embarrassed over lots of things. So why is OP making this a big deal? Huge and controlling idiot. You are the idiot. So many people have mentioned that it sounds like you don't want to do it, so you'll pull him out to avoid it. But there's more. But if you do pull him out, you're also denying him a bonding moment with his peers. And afterward, kids are going to talk about this, so this is probably going to be something that those kids talk about for a while, and any time it'll come up, the only thing he can add to the conversation is, "Oh, my dad pulled me out of the rally, so I wasn't there."